5-Round MMA.
A different view to MMA.
Gotta watch that 5-round MMA.
Welcome, everyone.
Y'all.
This is 5-Round MMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host, Dodgers #1 fan, Albert Cita. And on the phone from the East Coast in Orlando, Florida, still repping the Angels, even though he's Orlando, Guillermo Cita. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Good, man. Just repping them Angels.
Hey, so speaking of Orlando, Guillermo, you had a bunch of UFC fighters in town over the weekend. UFC on Fox took place on Saturday. Emmett versus Stevens in Orlando. Actually, sorry, I'm kind of lost my train of thought. UFC Fight Night took place over the weekend. How was the atmosphere in Orlando? Did you notice anything at all, or was it kind of like business as usual over there?
You know what? We were at Epcot, we were at Animal Kingdom, we were at Disney Springs, and I did not see one UFC fighter.
No?
So I guess everybody was down to business this weekend.
Yeah, you're always bragging about seeing Amanda Nunes at Animal Kingdom one time?
Yeah, that's correct. She was at Animal Kingdom a couple weeks prior to her fight, so I think she used it as a way to relax. And none of the other fighters did.
Okay. Well, let's get into it.
I think a lot of fighters should have used that.
Yeah.
So, round number
let's get
one.
round number one. UFC Orlando fight recap main event. Jeremy Stevens versus Josh Emmett. KO victory.
Illegal knee.
KO victory for Jeremy Stevens. In the
Parentheses, illegal knee.
In the book, it says KO punches and elbows in round 2 at 1
Well,
minute,
I'm going to
35
update
seconds.
this Wikipedia.
So, I just want to kind of, not to be a jerk or anything like that, but all this talk of Jeremy Stevens being a title contender needs to actually stop now, because he's proven in the past that when it comes to fighting the big dogs, the big dogs who rule the 145 yard, he comes up short every time. But real quick, his performance against Josh Emmett, is it noteworthy or just another kind of win on a fight night card for Jeremy Stevens?
I think it's noteworthy.
It's noteworthy? Go ahead. Why?
Okay, I'll tell you why. So one, first of all, your favorite, shut the hell up. Cody No Love, shut the hell up. That was not, the thing is, yes, it would have been an illegal knee or kick. He grazed him, so it wasn't a full connect. And second of all, he didn't need that to finish off that fight against Emmett. So that's for a second. This guy, out of nowhere, you guys see how high he was ranked after missing weight and beating Ricardo Lamas?
Yeah.
How the heck was he ranked so high, even higher than Jeremy Stevens? So just because of that, one, how hot Josh is it Josh Emmett?
Yeah, Josh Emmett.
Okay, I was just the fact how high he was at the 145 weight division, I think it is a big deal for what's it called?
Jeremy Stevens.
Jeremy Stevens. Yeah, Jeremy Stevens. And the other thing too, you saw after the fight, his post conference or in the ring, he's calling for a title shot. So and if you really think about it, who is there at 145? At one point, you had top dogs, or it was very, very a lot of contenders. At this point, there's not much. So I think Jeremy Stevens is up there.
Come on. I'm going to run through Jeremy Stevens' recent losses, and we're just going to go, and then I'll let that kind of speak for themselves. The last loss, Hanato Machano, I think I'm pretty sure wrong. So pretty sure I'm saying that wrong. He lost to Frankie Edgar via decision, lost to Max Holloway via decision, lost to Charles Oliveira via decision, lost to Cub Swanson via decision. So, those are the big dogs in the 145 division. If you want to go further than that, when he was at 155, he lost to Donald Cerrone via decision and lost to Anthony Pettis via decision. Granted, those are all decision victories, and obviously Jeremy Stevens is one tough guy to put away. But what's the difference between now and back then and now? If you were to face him now, has Max Holloway gotten worse? No. Has Frankie Edgar gotten worse? I don't think so. But has Jeremy Stevens gotten that better? We can beat them now. I don't see it happening. This is kind of
like lack of fighters in those weight classes. That's what really happened.
I know, but this kind of reminds me of, remember when everybody thought Matt Brown was gonna be like a legit title contender because he was beating up everybody and who was ranked not in the top 15. Also the little run that Jake Ellenberger had a couple years ago where he was beating everybody not in the top 15, and people thought for sure he was going to be a title contender until he ran into Diego Sanchez. That's just me. I'm a big fan of Alliance MMA and all this stuff, but I just don't see it for Jeremy Stevens. Or it's been proven that he's can't beat the top of the guys. I mean, but again, and on any given night, anything can happen. But Albert, what's your thoughts about Jeremy Stephens' victory and his status as a title contender?
Well, let me start off by saying I am the biggest Jeremy Stephens hater. Okay. I'm in the hate club. I am a hater of Jeremy Stephens. Number one up there. With that said, though, I will give him this credit. He wasn't like finished against Frankie Edgar, Max Holloway, all the big contenders at 145. Yeah. They didn't finish him. He lost a decision match, and I think that's some credit because that tells you that he's not that far off. I mean, if he was getting destroyed and getting TKO'd or knocked out, I think it'll be a whole different conversation. The fact that he lost by decision, I think he still puts himself in a
argument.
Yeah. He puts himself in a position. But with that said, I still don't think he can beat Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar, or any of the top 145ers. I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess apparently a punch or a knee can change the whole fight. But at the same time, I don't see him competing at that elite level.
Yeah.
But he has every right to be in the argument as far as a title contender just because I think he's never been finished by the top guys, and that's something to say.
Yeah, I still think Cub Swanson's ahead of him. I still think even though he got knocked out by Josh Emmett, I still think Ricardo Lamas is ahead of him. Obviously, you have Frankie Edgar ahead of him, and you have Charles Oliveira ahead of him as well, too. So let's go down to the rest of the fight card. Jessica Andrade defeated Tisha Torres, who took a setback, a major setback for Tisha Torres. This would have been
Tisha, my girl.
Supposed to be her crowning moment here, and she actually loses the decision unanimously. So Jessica Andrade is now kind of waiting on the Rose Namajunas, Joanna Jacek matchup. I know she's pulling for Thug Rose to come off. Real quick, too, Guillermo, what's up with OSP? Is he done now or what?
OSP's done. What I really want to talk about was that douchebag Mike Perry.
Oh, yeah, go to Mike Perry, yeah.
Save it for the next one.
First of all, I'm never going to defend Covington. I mean, I think that's a great matchup. Mike Perry versus Kobe Covington, a bunch of douchebags fighting it out. But nonetheless, I'm glad that Mike Perry lost that. Who pantses somebody during the weigh-in? That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that was
like, this guy needs to be cut. Like, oh my God, he's
I wouldn't
so
go that
unprofessional.
far, but he shouldn't have been pantsing no grown man.
Mike Perry would not be in the organization whatsoever.
Hey, real quick, too, do you think Kobe Covington crossed the line? I mean, for those who don't know about it, he cut a promo on Mike Perry and his wife. I think he called her. This is, I'm paraphrasing. I think he called.
You better be careful the way you paraphrase.
I think he called her like a horse face.
Yeah, he said
like inbreeding, like that's what you get, and this came out of nowhere too. I don't know if there was beefing or Kobe Covington is like he's the hottest thing on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Did he cross the line? I think he did.
Yeah.
Line.
I think it's one say. I think Chael Sonnen didn't even say that bad about Anderson Silva's wife, right?
Yeah,
it was just like
I think it's kind of well. You leave kids, you leave your wife, and you leave the guy's like mother and family out of it, right?
Well, I was gonna say that the problem with Kobe Covington, his smack talk, you can sense the anger.
Yeah,
with Chael Sonnen and stuff like that.
It sounds more like a promo.
Laugh about it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, anybody that laughs at what Kobe Covington just said is like kind of cynical, It's like that's too far. Like
that's a good point.
He makes it sound like he's dead serious about this.
He got a little too deep there. That's it for round number one. We're going to come back and talk about the next few rounds. Talk about recent matchups the UFC announced and what they how they shaped the landscape of the UFC. So do not go anywhere. Round two coming up next. Welcome back. Time for round number two. So I want to talk about a big time UFC lightweight matchup that was just announced last week. Kevin Lee will take on Edson Barboza in the very near future. I think it's going to main event for a fight night card. Let me bring up the date real quick. It's going to be on April 21st, UFC Fight Night 128 against Edson Barboza. But that's kind of funny. Kevin Lee is coming off a recent loss to Tony Ferguson, and Edson Barboza is coming off a recent loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov, the two guys who are fighting for the real lightweight title. Gamer, real quick, do you love this matchup? Do you hate it? No thoughts about it at all? Where does this fight? I
like it because if you really think about it, Edson Barboza versus Khabib Nurmagomedov was a number one contender fight. And Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee was the interim lightweight belt matchup. So you get the two losers, and then technically it's a title eliminator. So whoever wins this is right back into the running, into contending in this weight class. The other one's back into the drawing board and facing the bottom of the tier guys in this weight class. So I like it. I think usually what you hear is you never want – the winners usually don't want losers, and the losers – want winners, but they never get them. And here you got two elite losers from the previous matchup nothing to take away from those because I thought, both guys showed really, really good heart their last previous fights. But I think this is important for both of them to really contend this because I think both of them are knocking on the door.
Yeah, Albert, I don't know if I could be mistaken, but after his loss to Tony Ferguson, wasn't Kevin Lee contemplating a move to welterweight?
Yeah, but at the same time,
I think he kind of like just disappointed himself. Is that why?
Yeah, and I think the other encouraging part for him to stay in this division was he was dealing with the staph infection.
Yeah.
So I would, he can't go too hard on himself. I mean, staph infection ain't no joke. People die from it.
Yeah.
So I think that had a lot to do with it, of him staying in this weight class and still being able to say, I can still run it back. And I think I love the matchup. I think it's makes perfect sense. You got the two guys who lost to the guys who are contending for the belt, and potentially these guys can run it back with either or. Kevin Lee against Khabib, or Edson Barboza against Tony Ferguson, or even a rematch straight up. But I love this matchup. It makes sense. I think it keeps that division in a clear ranking system.
Yeah, I know. Like Guillermo, you did say like these are two guys coming off of losses, but these are two guys who come off losses to the best of the best. And Barboza and Lee are both elite, top tier lightweight. So this is like no joke. This is a pretty pivotal matchup for both guys. It's almost kind of like no wonder. Conor McGregor wants to stay put because, imagine he can't win the gauntlet all four of these guys with Tony Ferguson, Khabib,
it's a
Kevin
deep
Lee,
gauntlet.
and Edson Barboza. There's no way if you're to line them up all four in a row, he couldn't take them on Anderson Silva style. So, I mean, this is an interesting matchup. You guys also have guys like Dustin Poirier still out there, Justin Gaethje, and for some reason Nate Diaz is still ranked number 8 in the lightweight division. I have no idea why. And of course, again, your boy Ali Quinta is out there waiting in the wings, or lurking in the woods for maybe the winner of this bout. I'm not too sure.
Doesn't he have a fight coming up?
I think so. I think he has. I think somebody coming. I know Michael Chiesa is going to fight. I think Anthony Pettis coming up next. So, and Anthony Pettis
whatever happened to Chiesa? I haven't seen him in a while.
I think he's going to come up. I think he's going to welcome Anthony Pettis back into the division. I think, or try a proper fight. Because I'm pretty sure Michael Chiesa is going to fight Anthony Pettis next, and that's another. If Anthony Pettis gets a win too, it's another guy out there who, obviously, just on pedigree alone, he's back up there at the top of the division as well. So interesting stuff. Even without Conor McGregor, bringing the sexiness, to this division, I think this is a fight fan, a hardcore MMA fans division right here. Don't you think?
Yeah, and just to let you know, Ali Quinta it's scheduled to fight at UFC 223.
Against who? You don't know?
Fielder, I think.
Okay, Paul. Oh yeah, Paul Fielder.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Irish Paul Fielder.
Yeah.
That's another guy who's kind of
The power of Wikipedia, right, Albert?
Yeah,
Yeah, it works.
a real quick search.
How much time we got? What, 40 seconds?
Yeah.
I don't know what what's talking about. You guys should be interesting matchup, right?
Yeah, like I said, I think the 145, 155 right now is probably the most exciting division. I think like the upper half isn't as exciting. I'm saying as a division as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the top heavy because obviously we got the DC Miocic matchup coming up. But I think the bottom half of the weight classes are the
The
interesting
fact
ones.
that you just said that, Albert, and you have a champion facing a different weight class champion just shows how.
But that's top heavy. I'm talking about the division. What other heavyweight bout are you looking forward to? What other light heavyweight bout are you looking forward to, Guillermo?
Exactly, that's my point. It shows you that the light heavyweight sucks.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's it for round number 2. We're going to come back and talk about a pivotal middleweight matchup that was just announced last week as well. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Time for round number 3. Let's talk about another matchup that was recently announced by the UFC. UFC 224 on May 12th. Jacare Souza will take on Kelvin Gastelum, and I think is probably what a true
I told you so.
number 1 contender match. So Gamble,
And that's not even the main event. I want to throw that out there.
So this fight, how do you see this fight kind of breaking down? This is in Brazil. Kelvin Gastelum is again proving that he does not care. He'll go into the
Lions Den.
Lions Den anytime he wants. He'll take out any Brazilian anywhere in Brazil, right, Guillermo? So how do you like this matchup? Is this kind of are they squashing two contenders here, or do you like this matchup?
No, I mean, this is the matchup that makes the most sense. I mean, at middleweight, you have the logjam because of the injury to what's his name? Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
So because of that, you got to kind of get some excitement in this weight class because there is some top dogs still in this weight class. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. My only issue with this is where does this leave Chris Weidman? Think about it.
You're right.
Chris
Beat him to the
Weidman
punch,
did fight Kevin Gastelum, whether Albert likes him or not. This leaves Kevin Gastelum. I mean, what's his name?
Weidman.
Yeah, Chris Weidman in an awkward position because, one, he should be the one fighting Jacare, to be honest with you, not Kevin Gastelum. No disrespect, because I love Kevin Gastelum. I love me some Kevin Gastelum. But what's the activity on Chris Weidman? Now, do I like this matchup? Of course. Does this mean number one contendership? I think so, especially the way Kevin Gastelum has shown that he can be a mess with, or I wouldn't say juggernaut, but that first round, if you can get past Kevin Gastelum's, ability in the first round, after that it's just the strength, starts playing into a factor. So I think this is a great matchup for Kevin Gastelum and for Jacare. Elevates him again to the possible title shot.
What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I love this matchup. To me, the middleweight division is like the Wild West. I think it's all up for grabs. I think any of the top five can easily be a contender for the belt. And it's one of those things where I think none of these fighters can turn down a fight. And I think that's why Kevin Gastelum is going so hard, because you can get lost in the shuffle real quick in this division. Look at Chris Weidman, who beat Kevin Gastelum, is getting lost in this division. So I think it's like the Wild West. You got to step up every single fight now. And with that said, I mean, it makes perfect sense because, one, let's say Yoel Romero wins against Robert Whittaker. In order for Jacare to show that he deserves a rematch after getting beat by Yoel Romero, is to beat someone with a hot enough name right now, which is I think is Kevin Gastelum. So that makes sense. And then also it makes sense if you want to push Kevin Gastelum for a championship, even though he lost to Chris Weidman, because he's going to beat Jacare, who's technically the second-ranked fighter in the UFC right now.
Yeah, hey, Guillermo, do you think they're saving Weidman for Michael Bisping? Because there's like rumors going around like
USA versus Britain.
Yeah, and there's
throw it out for
every time
one.
A name goes out there, either Michael Bisping in the UFC shoot it down right away. The last one was Rashad Evans, like for Bisping's retirement match. Do you think that's something that Weidman might want to take on?
That's idiotic, to be honest with you, if they're saving them for that. I mean, like, realistically, not that I'm saying you're an idiot, Alex. You're asking
Of course not.
I think highly of you, Alex. But the thing is, what does Chris Weidman get out of that beating Michael Bisping when he's about to retire? If anything, the only one that makes sense is Luke Rockhold, who got embarrassed by Michael Bisping. That's the only one that really makes sense for him right now. Other than that, Michael Bisping is just a paycheck, to be honest with you guys. It's the whole Wanderlei Silva, Tito Ortiz type of thing. But if he loses to Michael Bisping when he's about to retire, just look at how much damage Ryan Bader took losing to Tito Ortiz. Oh,
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good pull right there, yeah. It does seem interesting, though. Like, you would think Weidman was a perfect fit for Jacare, unless he declined it, or the UFC didn't approach him, or what. I mean, I haven't heard anything about him being in the bad side of Dana White or Sean Shelby. So who knows? Maybe they forgot about him or something. All I can think of is a high profile match, like you said, is a rematch with Luke Rockhold. But who knows if Rockhold wants to do that, run that back again. And then maybe they're just saving him for Michael Bisping, trying to do, like you said, Albert America versus the UK, and trying to prove not to give Bisping.
Always an easy sell.
But I always see that they might want to give Bisping like a tomato can to finish out his career, won't they? I mean, they've done it for his whole career already. You might as well just what's one more? What's one more tomato can for Michael Bisping, right, to go out on top?
The problem, I don't think there's any out there.
Yeah, true. So
not in the middleweight division.
As far as the Kevin Gastelum matchup,
Uriah Hall, maybe?
Yeah, it could be. I think it's a sexy matchup. We'll see a true number one contender bout. So that's it for round number 3. We'll take a small break and come back and enter the championship rounds. But before that, I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors: 5 Rounds Clothing Line, Mobilitas Mobility Tools, Dioxyme workout supplements, Girl Gang wraps, hand wraps, and clothing, and of course, FiveBookMMA.com, the only place you'll find real combat news from all over the world. Bookmark FiveBookMMA.com, and also give a quick shout out to our friends over at the Dos Leprechauns podcast: Notre Dame football, professional wrestling, sports, mixed martial arts, pop culture. It's all there. The Dos Leprechauns podcast. Shout out to all those guys. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. Championship rounds come up next. Welcome back. Time for round number 4. It's kind of a news and notes. See what else is going on in the world of mixed martial arts. Might as well start with Conor McGregor, right? He did a social media post. I think it was Instagram of him in a ridiculously high turtleneck, saying how
You can never have a high turtleneck.
I guess that he actually offered to step up to face Frankie Edgar at UFC 222, a claim that Frankie Edgar's manager, I think now denies. But he said the UFC said that, sorry, we can't do it because we don't have the money enough to pay you or something like that. So he said, hey, but I'm here to fight. I'm coming back, so and so and so forth. I mean, people are saying it's kind of bullcrap, including management for the fighters. Cameron, but why would Conor McGregor say something like that? Why would he say something random about like Frankie Edgar, who has like no history to beef with? And why would he say, you know what? Yeah, I was trying to save some random UFC event in March. Do you think it's kind of true to what Conor McGregor said?
Sorry, I think so. I think it just shows you guys the credibility of Frankie Edgar to begin with. I mean, like, you guys can say all you guys want about him, but he has earned his respect in this fight game because look at what he's able to accomplish, one, at the lightweight division and also in the featherweight division. Yes, he hasn't won the belt at the featherweight division, but the fact that he's still up there, one of the elite guys, that just shows you his consistency. And that's the biggest selling point whenever you're facing Conor McGregor is what have you done, or your consistency and what have you done lately.
Yeah. So let me read his quote. It says, quote, "I am fighting again, period. I am the best at this. I put my name forward to step in at UFC 222 to face Frankie Edgar when Max Holloway pulled out, but I was told there wasn't enough time to generate the money that the UFC would need. I was excited about bouncing in last minute and taking out the final featherweight without all the rest of the stuff that comes with this game. Please respect the insane amount of work outside the fight game that I have put in. On top of the fighting, I am here. It is on them to come and get me because I am here. Yours sincerely, the champ. So it sounds like he's kind of really tired of the UFC's like promo aspect, right?
Yeah.
So I have no problem kind of going in there last minute and fighting with a week left.
And doesn't have to do all the interviews, all the press conferences, all the world tour.
And like you said, Guillermo, that's a real respect to Frankie Edgar. He said it there. I was excited. I take out the final featherweight. Like the one guy he probably didn't take out was Frankie Edgar. So that's again props. Frankie 2 times is like we joke about him all the time.
He would have got Frankie 1 time.
One time. But what do you think? Obviously, people are calling him BS on this. But I mean, why would he do this? Why would he do this?
To tell you the truth, I think Conor. People like to think like he sugarcoats on things.
Yeah.
And I like to think he's being honest. Like,
yeah.
He really did say he was going to step up, and I think they really did say, you know what? Not that we can't pay you or whatever. I think they're like, no, dude, we'd rather build it up and get as much money as we can from you, Conor McGregor, than, just having a quick fight. I mean, obviously a couple months of promotion, you can really get a lot of buy-ins. So. Yeah. I think that's all it had to do with, but that would have been awesome if they would have been able to do that. I think you still would have got good revenue back, and I think Conor makes a good point. Why does he have to do the whole circus when his name alone will probably sell it? And I think they should have went for it. But with that said, though, I think you still got a pretty awesome matchup, and with Brian Ortega in it, and I'm going for Brian Ortega. If Brian Ortega wins, that's a whole different threat for Conor McGregor if Conor McGregor wants him, because we know that Conor McGregor is acceptable to submissions because all of his losses have come to submission, and Brian Ortega is the man when it comes to submissions at 145.
Yeah. Real quick, too, let's jump on something else. Amanda Nunes has been announced to fight. She will defend her bantamweight title against Raquel Pennington at UFC 224. It's another Brazilian on that card against Loma Machida and Vitor Belfort, and obviously we just talked about Jacare versus Kelvin Gastelum. Is this kind of, she was more adamant about fighting Chris Cyborg, but with Chris Cyborg jumping in to save UFC 222, now she has to defend her title against Raquel Pennington, who's a worthy contender at that, but kind of not as this. I have no respect to Raquel. Not exactly the sexiest matchup for Amanda Nunes, right?
No, I think this is one of the harder sells. And it's crazy because Raquel Pennington actually has a pretty cool story. She was in The Ultimate Fighter, beats her coach, and then now puts herself in a championship position. Yeah. So that's an awesome story in itself. I just think it's a tough sell just because Amanda Nunes is a tough sell.
True. Hey, do you agree with that, Gamma? Do you think Amanda Nunes herself is not a marketable champion?
No, I disagree with that. I just don't think it's as stacked as it once was. I mean, I said last week, and I was kind of both saying this, but this is kind of the downfall or the golden age of the UFC is starting to dwindle down. I mean, like, who are the next rising stars?
Yeah.
And that's the real problem. Amanda Nunes can sell. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she beat Ronda Rousey, and that alone is a great selling point.
Yeah, and I'm sure the UFC is doing, they have a pretty sweet deal with Fox, and there's obviously justification to have a fight every weekend, but I kind of feel that the oversaturation is starting to catch up with them a little bit now. Now where we're seeing obviously lower quality cards, it's getting a lot hard to keep up with if you're just a casual fan, but also the fact that if you're a casual fan, you don't know who you're supposed to root for because the pay-per-views are even kind of a little oversaturated as well too, where I assume they're a champion.
Just look at the pay-per-views. They got to sell 2 pay-per-view or 2 championship belts.
For pay-per-view now, to justify it now. So, I mean,
they better justify for how much they're charging.
Yeah, that's it for round number 4. We got one more round coming up. That's a preview of UFC 222. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, 5th and final round. UFC 222 will take place on March 3rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada, live on pay-per-view. Main event, UFC featherweight champion Chris Cyborg will take on current Invicta FC bantamweight champion Yana Kutakania. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that name, but
you did.
Yana, I guess I'm pretty sure is that. Also the co-main event, Frankie Edgar versus Brian Ortega, and that is about it on this card. Brian Caraway's on the prelims. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bite my tongue that the featured preliminary card bout is a women's strawweight bout. Mackenzie Dern, the internet darling that she is.
I was about to tell you the hype is real with her.
In more ways than one, brother. I'll tell you that much. She'll be making her UFC debut against Ashley Yonder. I bet you Ashley Yonder has a lot to prove in this card because obviously all the attention is going to be on Mackenzie Dern, who is super popular. I tell you what, we did a couple posts just at Mackenzie Dern, our highest post of the year.
Yeah.
On our Instagram account. Guillermo, so let's kind of run down this card here. I guess first question: will you be watching it?
No, I won't. I'll be brutally honest with you guys. No. What's it's Cyborg, right?
Cyborg, then.
Yeah, and then it's pretty much the co-main event that I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
Every other fight really is irrelevant to me. And just not disrespect to Cyborg, I just think Cyborg is the elite, right?
It's disrespect to Cyborg.
Well, no, I just think it's easy picking for Cyborg, and I know that sounds bad, but I mean I just see so much more in Chris Cyborg, especially the women she's beaten,
Yeah, well, just to kind of the woman who's facing Cyborg, Yana, her last loss was to Tanya Evinger, who actually just got knocked out by Chris Cyborg. So it's like, come on. I know, you need to face her, but maybe we could do some stipulations, Cyborg 2-on-1 handicap match. Can we do that or something? Just because I mean, I know again anything can happen, and all it takes is one punch, but. The probabilities of that happening. So let's kind of, I guess, Albert. Stefan Struve versus Arlovski.
That's what I'm saying. Let me show you this card. Real quick. Let me show you how good of a salesman I am. You guys got to be kidding me that you guys haven't mentioned the new Irish star, the next Conor McGregor in the making, Sean O'Malley.
Oh wait, is that the one guy?
Yeah, Sean O'Malley is going to be hot, guys. You guys just haven't gotten the train yet, but he's going to be the next hottest thing. He killed it in Dana White's. I forgot top contender.
The contender show.
Yeah. So he's gonna be the next. You got the next Conor McGregor on the card, right? You got Stefan Struve, who's there to he's still in the heavyweight division.
To eat punches.
He lost his last fight, but he had 3 fights before that. He's looking healthy, and then we got my boy Andre Arlovski still trying to keep a job. And if that doesn't hype you up, I don't know what does. And then you got my girl Kat Zingano. Alex, how dare you not even mention Kat Zingano?
It's like her first fight in 5 years, isn't it?
Exactly. And
Not 2 years actually.
That's my girl's back, Kat Zingano. And if you want to dig real deep into this card, Hector Lombard's in there, and don't you disrespect.
Is he? Where's he at?
He's in the preliminary card.
Oh, okay. So
but Hector Lombard's on this card, and it should pump you up because it's 2 things that are happening here.
Yeah.
He wins, he stays in the UFC. He loses, he goes and dominates Bellator all over again.
He's an alternate in the Grand Prix. Yeah, I guess it's John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz, but John Dodson's like we talked about like a couple weeks ago. Like, where is he at? I don't know where he's at in terms of like relevancy in any division. Brian Caraway without Misha Tate.
Without Misha Tate,
What are you, Brian Caraway?
Look at you, Brian Caraway. You lose
What
Misha
are
Tate.
you? I'm just hyped about Mackenzie Dern.
And you know what's sad too?
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing to me. Brian Caraway is coming off of a big win over Aljamain Sterling. Because Sterling was hot.
Yeah.
He was actually considered one of the best fighters out there and one of the hottest prospects. And Brian Caraway beat him.
Yeah.
And now Brian Caraway finds himself in the Fight Pass.
But that was in 2016 though, so Brian Caraway hasn't fought in a while. I think he's probably getting over the breakup of. I would.
You said it.
I would. It'd take me a while to recover too, right, Guillermo? Weren't you? Guillermo there? Guillermo, we lost Guillermo.
We lost Guillermo. I didn't even know that.
Well, I mean, just in
No,
time.
I'm not here. I'm
Okay.
not here. I was going to say, even Dan the Beast Severin was a little upset that she was taking.
Well, I mean, UFC 222, again, Saturday, March 3rd at T-Mobile Arena. If you're there, I'm sure you'll enjoy the night. Again, prelims on Fox Sports. Before that, the UFC Fight Pass preliminary card and the main card on pay-per-view. Like I said, I think this whole, if you're a fight fan, you want to see Frankie Edgar versus Born Ortega, that's a too high-level fights, because if Frankie Edgar, he's a wrestler, right? If he takes it down to the ground, you really want to do that? You want to jump in the snake's den, the lion's den, quote unquote, Albert?
You stay away.
You stay away from the limbs of Brian Ortega. That's it for this week's show. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Keep up to date with 5RoundMMA by subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Podomatic. Visit 5RoundMMA.com. Like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 5RoundMMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. And a big shout out to everybody. Albert, what do you got?
I just want to say they better not mess up the Elimination Chamber. I know Roman Reigns has the highest percentage of winning it.
Big dog.
And I just hope it doesn't happen.
Believe that.
Ooh, yeah, the cream of the crop.
Thanks for tuning in